Hello and welcome back to our second attempt at recording our weekend preview. Look at him already.
Fourth attempt.
Look at him, Percy. We get on to him.
Nice. I don't even use mine because top of the game is dead.
There is actually coffee in there. I'm not just completely taking the piss.
It's been a mad year. And
yes!
Percy wins. And anyone that has backed him, you have me and Dave to thank. We solved it all. Dave, Tom just had to go away from for one race, and we had to take up the mantle.
We did.
So
you know what? I text into the podcast groups earlier because we did this yesterday, and the sound didn't work, and we actually both tipped presenting Percy, and Tom
tipped Monolith.
Yes.
I said at the prices I'd go for Monolith. There are a few rumours circulating that I said Percy wouldn't win, but I don't remember.
We had it on tape, but it didn't record, unfortunately.
What you actually said was he needs to be like finishing at worst a close third in amongst Monolith and Kenboy. But me and Andrew said he's going to win.
He has to bowl it up, and he did. In fairness,
he absolutely bowled up, didn't he, lads?
He did bowl it up, yeah.
The drop down a trip worked the Oracle.
That's not.
I sometimes know what I'm talking about.
That's not what worked the Oracle at all. He had fitness on his side. I'll give him that, but he jumped brilliantly. And I tell you, he came to the second last. He just flicked his ears. I was like, oh, he could be on here. And then he came down to the last, and he flicked him properly. And I haven't seen him do that like that since the RSA. And it's just so good to see him back. And hopefully that's a nice confidence booster. On to Leopardstown at Christmas. And I've an opinion that he will probably win. I'd imagine. As I said before, he's only got to improve a couple of lengths.
I wouldn't get over the odds. He was fit. I think the drop and trip suited him because he
was fit against two horses that were using that.
He's a bit of speed. Kenboy jumps like a fridge, and Monolith jumped today like a BMW. So I wouldn't be getting overly enthused with it. But well done, Tom. Your horse finally won. Well done.
We won't go too OTT, right? But I'll ask you this because I have an opinion on this. Do you think either Monolith or Kenboy will beat him again this year?
Yes.
I don't think they will.
I think Monolith.
I think he absolutely destroyed them. And a run or no run, I don't think they'll beat him. He was only a couple of lengths off from last year, lads, when he was trained by Pat Kelly, who poor Pat hasn't had a winner in God knows how long.
Bloody Loch Ness Monster's been seen more than Pat Kelly.
Yeah, well, this is what I was saying. Like, he only had to improve a couple of lengths to go and win a Grade 1. And I think that showed me today that he's definitely back in the zone.
Look at the confidence has come back. Look at it. You can see it in the eyes.
Do you know what
when you were trying to convince me to give up on him?
That's the first time we've actually seen that cup since we gave it to him.
And do you know what it is as well?
It's out. The dust is off as he's at the win. It's a pity he's going to see this fella running up to Shetland Hill.
It could be a good week for you, Tom, because you've been talking about Cocoa Beach. He's out tomorrow.
Oh, Tom, we're on
and
all over, Tom, we are.
And Make Good is running tomorrow.
Let's not get carried away.
Let's
just rein back a little bit, Darren. You stop. You still haven't come around for your training. It's okay. It's all right. But
you may as well get used to not having coffee this late either, Tom, because that's getting rid. That's off the training plan now. No more caffeine after 4 o'clock.
Dave, I said to you when we did the show yesterday, I said to you, I was like, yeah, a bit sore now, a bit sore. Oh my God, today I cannot move. I can't. That is effort. Walking is effort. I'm absolutely in pieces. So,
and you now see why I gave it up.
But it will get easier, Tom.
It don't. That is the biggest bullshit you'll ever hear come out. No trainer ever says to you, it's going to get easier. No, it won't, because when it gets easier, they make it fucking harder.
Yeah. He just gets injured. You're not injured. You just have DOMs. That's all.
I do have DOMs. I have bad DOMs today, but I have 2 stone to lose. Once I got down to that, I'll just maintain level. And
no, get into the charity race. Wait.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I reckon it should happen. I really do. We said it a bit on here, I think, but you need to talk to your friends.
So when you go back through the comments, there was good uptake on the comments of it anyway.
Was there, yeah? Andrew, you go talk to your friends. I'll talk to a few of my friends. We'll see what happens.
I really want the Petty Mushroom, and he's not out in Henry's anymore.
I'm 100% not doing it.
Why?
I am.
It has to be hunters, lads. Dave, I think you could do it. Because...
It has to be hunters.
No, it does. Come on, let's be realistic.
They're scared these days now. Come on.
You can't expect people who've never ridden a racehorse in their life to go and learn how to ride one in 6 months and ride it in a race.
But then that gives us a better chance to win.
It was a good day, though.
It was great, didn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
And look, we'll be fair enough now. We do it on hunters, level playing.
We've gotten on the road, and then me and Patrick veered off up out the countryside.
I had a race up a hill and everything.
It was fun. I got bet. No, but
I
anyway.
had like 14 and 15-year-old girls like leading us on the horses, and here's a 30-year-old man and he's shitting himself on top of the horse, crying, mate.
Dave, go with him.
Tell him to stop going so fast.
Who's this? Andrew?
Him. Me. Here, oh no, I was there looking between my legs. This fella's going to join.
Oh,
lads, Blogger rode a horse in Shanty. Anyone can do it.
It was a good day out.
We'll get you going.
It was a good day out.
Just hold on to the girth, everything. Just hold on to everything. Put it all together. Wrap it around your head. And you'll be grand.
We should all, once lockdown's over, we should all go horse riding, the three of us, and get a few videos of us. It'd be funny.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, right. We'll go on to the race. Shall we talk about Gorn tomorrow? Today is Thursday, by the way. So Gorn is on tomorrow. It's not a bad card. There's a few good. We won't touch on the races. A few good horses on. Bob Ollinger is going up against Fernie Hollow in a maiden hurdle, and myself and Tom's fancy for the season going ahead. Really, who me phone? Cocoa Beach.
Oh yeah.
Is also run and being backed as we speak. Bob, we just quickly touch on it. Bob Ollinger and Fernie Hollow. What way do we see you turning out?
Well, first off, we'll take it what the prices were. I had a nibble at this earlier. He opened up 7-4, which was too big.
Good
it
lad.
Was 7-4 Bob, 2-5 Fernie, and that was way too much of a gap in the prices. It's kind of 5-4 now and 4-9. I still think there's maybe a bit of shortening to come in Bob Ollinger. And again, yeah, like as I said yesterday, like I didn't need a bet in that race today to enjoy it. I don't really need a bet in the one tomorrow, but I just thought the price was wrong. Look, Fernie Hollow could come out and bolt up, so could Bob Ollinger, and I hope they just give us a good race, you know?
What I can see happening now is the video that I retweeted on my Twitter account. This is exactly what I can see Fernie Hollow doing tomorrow. Look how proud he is drinking out that cup.
I'm so happy, lads. Happy.
It's like watching your son play his first football match and just absolutely upend someone in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
I just need make good to win again tomorrow, and it'll be a some week for me. Oh
yeah, but I think Fernie Hollow is going to need at least 2 runs to understand there's actually hurdles in front of him, because he's just an absolute lunatic. I think Bob Ollinger is going to be very professional about his job. I think he's, as Tom said, 6-4. If you can get now, is a good price to be taken, because the prices are way too far apart. From what I understand, they think Bob Ollinger is an absolute monster and could be anything. But he has to go prove it against the champion bumper horse. But I think the prices are wrong, and I've backed him as well. I've only got 6-4. But I mean, you no thoughts. You're shaking here. You're done after your trial.
Oh no, Fernie Hollow. I mean, I'm not backing him at that price though.
Do you think so?
Ah yeah, lunatic.
You love lunatics.
Yep.
Anyway,
you could love Ken Boy then, really, because he's a head case.
Nah, I like him when he like runs from the front, like, but
like
when they hold him up, he just throws the dummy out the pram.
We just had that conversation off air, actually, for everyone watching that. Like, me and Dave are in pretty strong agreement there that he needs to. He's a different horse when he's ridden from the front. Can see why they wouldn't want to do that today, because he was very fresh and like he'd just be way too keen. But I would like to see him go from the front next time.
He needs Ruby Walsh to come out of retirement and ride him again.
There's some horses like Felix Deji is a good example, right? He was a bit of a tearaway and he's clearly after calming down, and now you can ride him differently. But there's some horses. for their whole career, they need to be ridden from the front, or they need to lead to be aggressive in a race. And there's nothing worse than knowing a horse needs to lead and they hold them up. Because as soon as the race starts, rip up your slip and throw it away.
You hate it so much when it happens.
Oh, that's my pet peeve now.
He literally goes mental.
Oh.
Why is he out the back? He's a front
Straight
runner.
away. That's the end of that bit.
It's like watching him watch Ryan Moore on Magical again, the Breeders' Cup. That's exactly what happens.
No, Circus Maximus.
Circus Maximus. And Magical. He gave out that Magical.
Magical. She's going to Chattina or something, I think.
Is she?
Yeah, they're racing her, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we start with the racing on Saturday now, and off the Haydock and a 1:15. Graduation Chase over 2 mile 5. We previewed this yesterday, and the prices were a lot bigger than they are now. But anyway, we have the final declarations are Master Tommy Tucker, Dasher Drashel, Goodbye Bobby, Comanche Red, and so on. Dave, start with you. Who tickles your fancy in this one?
I stick with the horse that I picked, Dasher Drasher.
Mm-hmm.
I think his form behind Champ is good. The stable is in form, a winner today in a couple of seconds, so I think he's the one to go for. Master Tommy Tucker is what he is. He could somersault the fence, or who knows.
He could do he could do a Sam's profile.
He's fun to watch.
Tom, we previewed this yesterday, and your horse that you tipped up has been taken out. Who have you landed on this time?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's been taken out, and the one I had put up as well was Dasher Drasher, as well as Dave as my second pick. Master Tommy Tucker has got loads of ability, and as I said before, he actually doesn't jump too bad. He just throws himself at a couple of them. I just couldn't trust him. So yeah, I'll take a chance on Dasher Drasher. He got some smart form last season behind Champ, and then he unseated behind him again, and then he won. Had a long enough break after that, which is the only kind of a question mark. But he's gone fairly well fresh before. He's had a wind up. Jeremy Scott's stable are in okay form. They had a winner today and a few placed horses, so they're not completely out of form. So yeah, we'll take a chance on him.
I'm going to make it a full house. Dasher Drasher is one of my best bets of the weekend. As the lad said, his second behind Champ, first time out last season, beaten 3 1/4 lengths. He went on then to unseat rider behind him the next time, and he absolutely bolted up around Haydock after that by 7 lengths. He's a good jumper, bar unseat, which was just an obviously mistake. He was a decent hurdler. As I said, form around behind Champ, who some say is a Gold Cup horse.
Yep.
But if he runs to that level, he should be winning this. Master Tommy Tucker is an absolute loony bin. He could either bolt up or break his neck. Goodbye Bobby's. It's true. He just, as Tom said, he just throws himself at fence. He has no regard for his own life. Zero regard. Or Harry Cobden.
A few of them horses today, to be honest.
We were talking yesterday about this race. No, it was actually about the Betfair Chase, and Tom was saying that there's a reason why Harry Cobden is not down here. It's because Mr. Tommy Tucker is running down here, and he doesn't want to be anywhere near him.
Oh, he's a lunatic.
We've Goodbye Bobby. Yeah, he's all right, but I think Dasher Drasher should be winning this quite cozily. So he is one of my strong bets for the weekend. So that is a full house on the Graduation Chase for Dasher Drasher, whatever his name is, the winner. Right, on to 2:25. Betfair Exchange, Stayers Hurdle over 3.5 miles a furlong. Tom, start with you this time. The Jam Man over Ireland again, bolted up last time out over fences. Maxine O'Sullivan has been booked up, taking another £5 off his back. Gone over his chase mark, which we predicted. What chances do you give him in this?
Yeah, he's got a good chance. I'm glad to see the horse I tipped up is running, because my nap and my next best don't run. So Yeah, I'm happy to see that I've actually got one that I fancy running in this. The Jam Man, yeah, look, he's got his chance. He ran off a lot lower chase mark. He ran off 129, and he was entitled to win off that. Now, was he entitled to go and beat a Troytown field by 18 lengths? No. He's clearly in very, very good form. It's just a horse I'm going to take on at 4-1. Would I lay him? No. Will I try and find one against him? Yes. The one I found against him is actually, I just see now, he's out 20-1. So I'm quite happy that I'm just going to check who he's 20-1 with and make sure I'm not saying he's 20-1 with one bookmaker or something. No, 20-1 across the board. That's happy days. The horse's name is Dolphin Square, Philip Hobbs's. I put him up as one to follow after his run at Newbury last year when David Maxwell went around the houses on him and he finished 4th, beating 3 lengths in a competitive novice race, in a competitive handicap. And he went on then and he won next time out, and then he was second. He's already had a run this year where he finished second to Del Arca. He's off 139, which is not impossible for him, I don't think. Dickie's in the saddle as David Maxwell's unfortunately injured. Philip Hobbs is stable there in okay form. I feel they're coming back into form. They had 2 winners today. They had a winner yesterday and another few place tosses. So I hopefully they'll start firing again. And I'm surprised to see him at 20-1, to be honest.
Dave?
Stick with the same horse that I picked when we did this yesterday, Kalashnikov. The reasoning behind it was I don't think he jumps fences quite as good as he was on the hurdles. He is a grade 1 animal. He's carrying top weight, and I think going up and trip will help him. He really likes soft ground, and I think it's worth a try. And at 14, 16-1 kind of price, he's a good each-way bet.
Okay. I start with the Jam Man. For the life of me, I can't go near him. I don't know why. He could bolt up again, but I don't know, something about it I don't like. Not that how can I rephrase this? I don't like. Yeah.
That's what you normally come out with.
Yeah, and he suddenly had to grow on another leg all of a sudden. Like, how does that happen? Like, he's a 7-year-old. It's not like he's a 5-year-old being handicapped.
How long have we got, and are your lawyers any good? And we can discuss how that happened.
No, you're the closest I have to a lawyer now, and you're an accountant. I was Timber Media once. We use one of them. Yeah,
need them. They're expensive, I'll tell you that much.
Like, I can't have it whatsoever. Imperial Alcazar is much of the muchness to me now. I 5-1 won't go near him. Relegate, I can never wrap my head around this horse. It can't jump.
You backed it enough.
I backed it enough times to realise to stop. The thing can't jump. She won a champion bumper, was probably one of the worst ones. Slow, very slow, out the back, and just can't jump. Then we get on to the one that I really, really like, is Main Fact. I put him up last week at Cheltenham, but he obviously didn't run. He was penciled in here. He's at the win 8 on a trot, 2 on the flat, and the rest over hurdles. He's Fergus Gillard is on him, taking £7 off, and he's 3 for 4 on him. He will love the ground. He'd love the long straight. He might look like he probably the first one getting squeezed along, but my God, his horse just keeps finding. I think I've backed him already during the week. He's into 7-1 now. He's a huge chance to win this. He's David Pipe. I'm not a fan of him as a trainer, but this horse is in the form of his life. He bolted up on the flat 2 times this season. He's up to a career high mark, obviously, but I think there's a lot left in the tank for this fella. He's the kind of horse I just like. He visually just keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. No matter how much you throw him, he keeps going, and he looks like he's just improving the whole time. He is a strong bet for me now in this, and I've him backed already. One for people who might want something that's going to run on the finish through beating horses is just the tenor of Twiston Davison's. One last time out, will love the soft ground, gets held up, will come with a late run through beating horses. He's carrying 10 stone 5 and then take 3 pounds of Harry Reid's off. He's 10 stone 2. You'll get your run for your money. He will come through beating horses. You will get 4 to 5 places. And some bookmakers, he is worth an each way shot, I think, definitely for a horse that will love the ground. All his forms on soft to heavy ground. 25 to 1, 33 in a place. You'll find worse each way bets this week. But I am really sweet on Main Factor. I'm waiting a long time for this season to run back over hurdles, and I think 7 to 1 right now is a fair bet, to be honest. I like it. Look at that. You saw me say that. Final selections, Tom.
Dolphin Square.
Dolphin Square, David.
Kalashnikov, each way.
Cool. And I have Main Fact and an each way shot on just the tenor. Right, on to the main one. The Betfair Chase over 3 miles. We have reigning champion, Lostintranslation. Bristol de Moy, who's just loves Haydock. King George winner, Clandazobo. And then we've Bells Hill and Keeper Hill probably making up the numbers. Dave, Lostintranslation, winner last year. Coming up against Bristol de Moy, who seems to like have his optimum conditions coming into this year's one. Do you think, or even Clandazobo, do you think this is just a prep for Clan, or will the form be turned around and everyone will be seen as grey off in the distance?
Clandazobo can't win first time out. It's the prep run for the King George. He'd probably have a great chance in the King George again. He loves that track. I really like Lostintranslation. I think he's a really, really nice horse, a proper grade 1 chaser. But he came into this last year on the back of a prep run. And I think that was the only time he won first time out. And it was a pretty substandard race around Carlisle. Anybody who watches the podcast know that Haydock's the axe track, in my opinion, especially on the track. And Bristol de Moy is the perfect yak for Haydock. He loves soft, heavy ground.
What can you say against that? Like?
He loves soft, heavy ground, and it's the only grade 1 Bristol de Moy has any chance to win in any. I don't care what anybody says. You can put anything in the comments. It's the only grade 1 he'll ever win. He loves it around Haydock. So last year as well, I think the ground was good to soft, so it suited Lostintranslation more. It's going to be more in Bristol de Moy's favour. And I think, unfortunately, because I don't like the horse, he will win.
Look, it's a week where we're backing horses we don't really like because we know we're going to win. And this is another one.
Sometimes you can't leave. I leave my heart rule in my head sometimes, but not.
I used to get carried away with that. Now I like what my bank account says when I leave my brain.
I much prefer Lostintranslation to win because he's a better horse and he's the sexier horse. But
he is, but he's not going to get away with what he done last year.
Bristol de Moy is probably the only grey horse I don't like.
Wow, that's true. You love every grey in existence.
Yep.
It could be a seller and he bloody back it.
I've got a grey horse running a claimer next week in France, Dave. We've got our eye on.
I will back that, no problem.
Tom, get your thoughts on it now before I go.
Yeah, look, I kind of along the same lines as Dave in that I think Bristol de Moy will win. Clandazobo, yeah, I just think he'll come on for the run. There's one day for him. I think he's going to be fully revved for Kempton. I don't even think they'll go to Cheltenham this year. I think they'll skip Cheltenham and maybe go like Aintree, Punchestown, something like that. Yeah, I can just see him needing it a little bit and coming on for the run. He's been beaten a few times first time out when you wouldn't think he would have been. And Lostintranslation, yeah, like I don't know, it's just not a horse I take to. I know you two loved him last year. And he won this last year, but that was off the back of a win first time out. and he hasn't had a run this year. He's coming here fresh, so I don't know. Maybe that might be the difference for him. And it depends on the ground as well. That was good to soft last year. That was the only time in I think 5 starts that Bristol de Mai has been beaten at Haydock. Back to soft ground, and again a bit like Kempton for Clandazobo. I think they'll have this lad rev for this day. They know he goes really well there, and I can see him being rev to go first time out. And the Twist and Davis team are picking up a bit of steam now. He's had 6 winners in the last 14 days. I think he'll win, to be honest. And you're getting a bit of a price about him as well as the other thing. Like Lostintranslation, very, very short price, 5 to 4, 11 to 8 mark. For me, that's crazy short. You can get 9 to 4 on Bristol de Mai, and I take that all day long.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same line as the two lads. As Tom said, Lostintranslation came into this last season on the back of a win in a graduation race around Carlisle. And this year, Colin Tisdale's horses kind of look, majority of them have needed to run. There's been a lot of their big horses that have dropped out tamely for the first run. So that puts me off. I love the horse. I think he's one of the best 3-mile chasers around. And to do what he done at the Cheltenham Festival, where all Colin Tisdale's horses were absolutely running diabolical, and to finish where he did in the Gold Cup, he's a very, very talented horse. But I think their first aim is going to be redemption at the King George. He ran no start to the race last season after he won this last year in the King George. It was over after 2 fences. I think they want to put things right in that. I think the same with Clandazobo, the prep run for him to retain his King George crown. So that boils down to Bristol de Mai. As the lad said, loves the track. Was unbeaten there until last year. Goes on the ground. As Tom said, Nigel Twist and Davis' horses are coming into form. He's had a few winners the last few days. I think 2 to 1 is a big price for him, is when you take that all into account. He loves the track. He'd be out in the front. They leave him alone. Lostintranslation is not going to get away with what he done last year. There was a part in it where Dave texted me. He was watching on the telly. He's only had to come in. He said, "What happened to Lostintranslation?" That's telling you how far back he was. So he's not going to get away with it on the ground if it's soft, the heavy in places. So this is a very strong view on Bristol de Mai is going to win on Saturday, and I can see him putting distance between himself and the other two. That's the way I look at it. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I think the ground caught out last year, and he was still quite close to Lostintranslation in the end. So
yeah, I think
he's a way better horse.
I think his galloping powers are kind of blunted with the ground. So I think any juice that's coming, any rain, is only going to aid him, and I think it's a good chance for him to get another win back on the board. So I think we are all in agreement that it's going to be another win for
Bristol de
Mai. Right. On to Ascot and the Carl Hurdle, formerly known as the Ascot Hurdle. The reason I'm talking like this, we've done this yesterday and we spent a lot of time talking about Goshen where he has to win this and so on. What the hell's had to happen to him? He's not in it now. Tom, do you see anything? It
must be worried in your second coming. Your second coming is to win the champion hurdle.
He's been entered twice. The trainer said twice, "Oh yeah, he's intended runner," but no. And then he's had to run twice in flat. Not a problem. There was not a problem running on the flat. But what the hell is going on now? Has there been any issue brought up or anything? Or the ground is perfect from the trip is perfect. Trip is going to be no problem. He's in one of the most winnable races of the season against bloody, who is in it? Lorena, Search for a Song. I'm trying to get it up. And Call Me Lord, is it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to what's going on here. Yeah, Lorena, Call Me Lord, and Search for a Song. Song for something, sorry. There was, unless he's sick, injured, or whatever, there was no reason really to take him out because the ground is going to be perfect for him. I can't wrap my head around it now. I'm just annoyed now at this stage. When you have...
To me, it's a strange one because I said yesterday it was a better race for him to go for. But there's only one race to go for now, and it's against Epatont in the fighting fifth. And
madness. Why would you do that?
That's not a race you want to start off in.
That's what I mean. Like, it's also left-handed where they had the issues with his jumping last year. It's like they had two easier races and they've somehow just fallen on the harder race. I don't understand them. But look at this one. It is.
If he was right, they would surely have run him in this. Like this is a horrible, horrible race. I don't even want to put a selection up in it. Like,
I know.
If he was fine,
The only reason. Go on.
If he was fine, they'd have run him in this, surely.
Yeah.
It was only yesterday where he said, yeah, plan to run on Saturday. All systems go.
Jamie Moore tweeted yesterday that he had schooled him and his spark was back and it was all systems go for Saturday. So that was when it came out this morning that he wasn't running. It was 18 hours before that tweet went up. So I don't know. Maybe he got injured running on the flat and they don't want to come out and say.
I have a question for you, lads. You were very, 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 very confident a few weeks ago. Does Goshen win the champion hurdle?
I have to see him run first.
He's ran twice already.
Yeah, on the flat. That don't count.
Like it's not it's at a stage of what's up with him. Why isn't he running? If he's the champion hurdle horse, he has to run before Christmas to get experience in at the top level.
He needs experience.
Like, yes, we say we're not stupid. Like, we will say this horse is who we think is champion hurdle horse. But he's not going to do anything in a champion hurdle if he doesn't come out by Christmas and run at least two open races. But going to Newcastle for the fighting fifth is not ideal when you're running against a champion hurdle horse who's going to be kind of prepped for that, where you're not going to be. She's been there, done that. You want to start off with a nice introduction, then go against it. Either going there and then going to that yak race at bloody Sandown, whatever the hell it's called.
Contenders
Hurdle. Then going into champion hurdle. Like, we're not stupid. That's not going to be good enough to be running in the champion hurdle. He needs to get used to running at that speed, even though he probably does go at that speed. We're not idiots.
No, I don't know. The only race left now is the fighting fifth. So if he runs it now, I'll back him because he can be a good price going against the champion hurdler. And if he beats her, then what do we know? And they know better than us. But
it's either that or they bring him over here.
I think it's a bit mad, to be honest. But look, it is what it is.
And before you say that I hate Goshen, I actually napped him yesterday in the video for this when he was 7-4. I thought he was an absolute certainty.
I won't say he can't win the champion hurdle, but I am worried now. I don't know what's going on, to be honest.
Like you're kind of optimism gets kind of blunted when you see twice in the space of a few weeks that he's meant to be running, and all of a sudden he's taken out twice.
The first day the ground was too
quick,
too fast for him. I understand that, but can't understand why he's not running Saturday now. Right? He would have won that doing a handstand and like what Sam's profile did today, somersault over the hurdle and everything.
On to this race though. If Lorena doesn't win this,
I'll retire her for the love of God.
Give up on her. She gets £13 off Call Me Lord. Like,
she'd want to slap in the jaw now if she doesn't win this.
I won't be backing her, and I'd be I might watch it. It's as far as I get, but
I won't. I'd have my finger
really
for this bitch.
Wow.
Andrew, you're very anti-Lorena. You used to be in love with her. You used to have the Lorena scarf and everything.
But see, I can let things go, Tom.
Yeah,
and that is now a real steel scarf.
Do you know, I'd say she'll probably still get bet Saturday.
It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if she got tailed off. Do you know that?
What they say, back the outside of a tree. There you go.
It's just ridiculous.
Finishing line for in-depth horse racing analysis. Back the outsider a free.
I guarantee it. Watch it. It'll win. Watch.
60% of the time it's right all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Dave. Anything could happen, but by God, she could win that the weight she's
looking at it realistically, getting all that weight, she has to win it. If she doesn't win, They may as well pull stumps on her career. She's not going to do that.
But lads, seriously, don't bet in that race.
No, it's an absolute tool of a race.
Ascot's after being torn apart. The races are terrible.
All right, enough of that. If Lorena doesn't win, she should just send her off the paddock or something. Right. On to Naas. 102. The Grade 2 Chase over 2 miles. Lads, what's going to go on here? There's 4 front runners. It's going to be absolutely mental. We Facky Dudari, Notebook, Jingle, and Cashback. I cannot wait to see the 4 of these go to the first. Whee!
I picked Fakir Dudari yesterday. I'll stick with him. I think he's probably the only one that can be held up and won't try and kill himself.
Could you imagine this? Like, you have Jingle, who's the fastest. Or the first 4 fences.
It's going to be some
Cashback.
Some fun to watch anyway.
Notebook, who went off to Aintree and then came back to Cheltenham before he ran in the Arctic.
I actually had a good crack about Notebook yesterday. I'm disappointed we don't get there.
Yeah, more or less what we said when he won a Leopardstown. He went off to Dundrum for a coffee, came back and still won the Arkle trial or whatever.
And then before the Arkle, he went to Brighton Pier and
came back for an ice cream and decided not to run because it was too far and it was cold in the middle of March.
And like I said before, he's the only gelding that needs a second gelding operation, and he's like a fella that's after getting the snip and still managed to have a kid. It doesn't happen. It's not supposed to happen.
Dave's not talking about experience, but it's going to happen to him.
Dave, that's the kind of thing that can only happen to you, mate.
Probably, yeah. To be honest,
it's going to happen to him. It's just
sure. Look,
and you have to call your son.
What can you do? You just roll with it. Want to call me something?
Nope.
You can match.
Notebook O'Keefe. No, you have to call your son Stats O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Stats.
But
anyway. This boy's down to Facky Dudari. He's probably the best form in the race, following home. Put the kettle on last year in the Arkle. He got beat by Notebook, obviously, last year as well. But I think the fact that there's so many front runners in here, they're going to be fresh. They're going to go off like the clappers down to the first 3 or 4. 1 or 2 is going to make a mistake. As Dave said, Facky Dudari, to me, is the only one that probably can be held up off it. But he probably needs a trip all the same at this stage.
He's a bit more versatile. He should have stayed, I'd say.
Yeah. Tom, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I put up Facky Dudari yesterday as well, and I'll stick with him. He's gone well fresh before the last couple of times, and as you say, there's 3 front runners.
All right there, Tom.
Okay, Tom.
There's 3 front runners here, and I can see Mark Walsh just ducking in behind, and it'll turn into a race where you have to stay because the ground's going to be pretty heavy. Hopefully he can do the business. But that's a race I'm definitely tuning in for, and really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see what happens over the first 4 fences.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Tom's looking at us as a proper analyst, and we're just waiting for someone to absolutely do a somersault over a fence.
Box.
It's the finishing line way, Tom. Should be used to it by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're all agreement that Facky or Dudari should be winning this, especially with all the pace on it. So the final one we will cover will be on Sunday in Navan, and at 2:20 we have another Grade 2 Chase, but this time over 3 miles, where we have excuse me. Carefully select the Ravenhill, Brahma Bull, Manana Indo, Dream Conti, and Milan Naser. Tom, start with you. Manana Indo surely bolts up in this because there's not much yaks running against them.
Yeah, those I wouldn't go that far. Poor carefully selected. For those of you who've seen the anti-post video already, you will see that my selection was Manana Indo for the Gold Cup at 10-1. That was based on the fact that I think he'll win here. And they'll shorten him to maybe 7-1, I imagine, if things go as I expect them to. He bolted up the first day. Like, he absolutely bolted up. And for a horse who can sometimes need a run and who looks pretty big, that was very impressive. I said in one of our other anti-post videos that I thought he needed to grow up a bit and man up a bit. in himself, and he definitely looked at Wexford like he'd done that. You know, he went clear on the bridle and just kept jumping straight. Yeah, really, really looking forward to him. He's probably the one I'm looking forward to most over the weekend. So yeah, I hope he can get the business done. Carefully selected. Don't give up on him just yet. His last run was a complete write-off in the National Hunt Chase, and I think there's some nice races to be won with him. We'll see how he goes. Manila Indo should be better than him, though.
Dave.
Do you know
that was quick?
Do you know the way? You know when what they're doing now? They have all the times of the races and like the sectionals and all that. When they're doing it for carefully selected, they calculate it knots because he's a boat. Ravenhill is a boat. Brahma Bull. I don't know what to make of Brahma Bull, to be honest, because just when you think he's going to win,
he's an enigma.
He comes 6th or 7th, or he comes last or falls. Dream Conti is Dream Conti. Milan Native got spanked by Manila Indo. If Manila Indo don't win this, I would be shocked.
You would be shocked.
I will be shocked.
Oh,
but carefully select the boat.
Just to throw.
I don't think Patrick thought he was too much of a boat when he was bolting with him at Cheltenham.
Yeah, well, I think he is.
Maybe we could get you to ride carefully selected in a charity race then.
If I can control him, I will.
Dave, you're like, he's not a fucking boat now.
They're all going to go faster than I want them to go anyway. Like,
I just want to walk. Manila Indo should be winning this easily. If he doesn't, is he a Gold Cup horse? Probably is. He is a Gold Cup horse.
He will win.
Yeah, he will win. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a nice little pop around in preparation for the Savage Chase at Leopardstown, which I probably think he'll win now. But that's for another day.
Him and Percy, right? And
what will you do that day, Tom?
And you know what? Champ is coming over.
He is. Champ is coming over.
You're going to have Percy, Champ, Delta Work, Manila Indo.
No, you're just going to have Manila Indo. Don't mind that Champ. He won't even make it out of the horse box. He'd fall.
I don't know what I'd do that day. It'd be a heart and a head situation, I reckon.
Oh, you would have an orgasm when the two of them are coming to the last dumping together.
Did you see Garrity's interview about Champ and winning the RSA?
That's the reason I retired.
No. He said he knew he didn't have to jump well. He'd still win. That's how good he is.
Of course you're going to say that after you won.
You can't do that in the Gold Cup, though.
No, God, no. He'll be too far behind.
Him and Kembo would be whacking fences together as Percy's
coming
up to the last 2 years going like this.
Could you imagine if they jump practice fences like they did in France? Two boys be on the floor before the race starts.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens this year. So it's good though, isn't it? It's an exciting start anyway.
Yeah.
But do you know what's kind of happening as well about the Gold Cup division already? Everyone's forgetting about Album 4 already.
Yeah, it always happens. When some of these horses are winning now,
guarantee you he won't even go off favourite.
We get an out 6 or 7 to 1 on Album 4. So
I bet you he won't go off favourite. Come today, he won't go off favourite.
He's going to win again, I'd say.
He's like a fella just turns up and goes, "The hell are you doing here? See you, lads. Off I go, win the Gold Cup. See you in January, lads. Good luck." That's all he does.
I don't get the credit he deserves, but it's because of the way he's campaigned. But look,
it's how you win Gold Cups.
That's how you win Gold Cups.
It's how you win multiple Gold Cups, definitely.
Yep.
Unless you're quarter star an absolute freak.
That's different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah, that's us. Or Naps. Naps the next best.
My nap is in a race that we didn't touch on. It's Kid Commando in the 150 at Haydock. He loves soft ground, goes from the front, and I think he's a graded horse in a last handicap, and he'll win this and then go on to graded races. My next best is Dashel Drasher.
My nap, Dashel Drasher. My next best is Main Fact.
And I am going to go. The only horse I really, really fancy this weekend is 20 to 1. So I'm going to stick him up as my nap. Dolphin Square.
Well done.
What's that?
Say, well done.
I'm impressed with
I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. There's so many tricky races, and as we were saying yesterday, that there's so many races that you don't need a bet in to enjoy this weekend. So yeah, I think I'll have a bet on him anyway. Dolphin Square 20-1. He can be my nap. Obviously backing each way at that price. And my next best is probably Bristol Demise, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a really good time of year. The next 10, 12 weeks leading up to Christmas, and then after
10, 12 weeks. What month you in?
Then
it's 5 weeks to Christmas.
Yeah, but like continuously, and then the Leopardstown Festival.
He's gone back to the first lockdown.
I hope he's not ordering the Christmas turkey anyway.
But on the flat, like you get 2 and 3 weeks where the race is not great. Like over the jumps, it's just continual. Week after week, you have good races to talk about on a Saturday and Sunday. Like there was 2 and 3 weeks, the flat stuff, there's lulls in it. The kind of only lull in the national hunt is the 3 weeks before Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Once the Betfair is over, it kind of calms down and then ramps back up again.
Great.
We might just touch on this, and I'm completely dropping this on us now. I haven't mentioned it to you, but we said about it yesterday on the anti-post video. One of the questions that came in was about somebody who was new to gambling and, what should they look to bet on? And we ended up kind of going off into what not to do. Turns out this week is safer gambling week, which is completely coincidental. Yeah. We'd no idea.
We knew that.
I know, yeah. I was looking at it, I was like, why didn't we know that? We could have looked clever. But as it's safer gambling week, maybe just on this video as well, we were just saying like some of the stuff to do. And my main points are, have your betting bank that is separate to any other money that you have, and just bet from that. And use a staking plan so you don't lose, so you're not risking too much of your betting bank. That's my advice. All of, like, as the lads will know, I don't mind saying it, like I think we're in a bit of a public eye here that maybe we should discuss. And people don't discuss their gambling habits because I just think it's a bit of a taboo subject. But I've all my gambling stuff in a PayPal account, which is completely separate then to any of my other betting accounts. Any of my other accounts for my day-to-day stuff, for my mortgage, for my car and everything. And something I did only a few years ago, and I find it really, really helps. And it's just a separate amount of money. It's in there, and it works well for me. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, it's like I touched on yesterday. For me, it's a disposable amount per weekend, and if I lose that, I have the conviction to be able to walk away and come back the following week. And like I said, I wouldn't be the biggest gambler midweek unless there's a good card, like a good card at Thurles today. So I had a few bets on that. And then it's about as well for me picking horses and not getting drawn into sitting there all day and backing on every single race, which can happen to anybody, especially if you're having a good day. You might be up a few euros or whatever. Like, I'll throw another bet on that, and the money you might have won can dwindle fairly fast. Try and stick to the bets that you're doing, and that's why, like, say, €50 a week for me works, because I have to pick out the horses that I really, really fancy, and if there's one that I don't back and it wins, you have to take it on the chin.
Yeah, what I kind of touched on was starting off what you should do if you're new to the game. Like, don't go, like, say you're going out with the lads, don't go ballsy in, like, oh, try start putting 20, 30 euro on a horse. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Put a fiver, put €2, put what you want on a horse. You're out for the day to enjoy the day, not to become a gambler. The race is on, the football's on. Yeah, have an accumulator, €2 accumulator, have €2 on a horse, have fiver on a horse. Then if you lose 5 races, €2, you're only down a tenner. If you put €10 on them 5 races, you're suddenly down 50. Like, it all adds up very, very quickly. But what I say to someone who's starting off, start small with your stakes. because it takes a while to get the understanding of horses, of the type of how they run, what ground they go on, and so on. Same with the trainers. Are they informed? When do they peak? The tracks, what horses run well at the tracks, what don't. It's going to take a while for you to get all that information together. And then you won't say it 2 years down the line. You will have more knowledge to go to war with then. So you say you can go 5-10s. Or if you really, really fancy something, go your 15 or 20 or whatever, anything you can afford. So don't, as Tom said, don't go into a separate account of money saying, oh Christ, I've lost now and I fancy this one. That's the trap everyone falls into. You have a horse, say you fancy Bristol Noy, who's not run till 3 o'clock. Race is starting at 12. You'd be sitting there itching to have a bet. And then you're betting in every race, like Haydock, Ascot, Dundalk, whatever is on. And say you're batting in 6 races, suddenly they all lose. They all come second or third or whatever. You're €60 down. And then you go from, I was going to have €20 on Bristol Noy to do a chance taking the chance back on him now, or do I leave it? Then he goes and wins. And then you're in the mindset of, okay, he was going to win, so I'm definitely going to win the next one because I was right with him. But all of a sudden, this fella loses. And then this is where you get into the role of chasing, oh Christ, I'm down now. If I back this fella, I'll only be down X amount. And then he loses. And then this is how the big gambling holes start. This is how you get in debt. This is how as Tom says, your betting account suddenly becomes your bank account. And it's not a good place. We've all been there. I've been there. I don't know if the two lads have been there. Like, as Dave touched on yesterday, about drinking as well. It happened to me up Punchdown 2 years ago. I was in a hula hoop, and I was just doing, there's a tenner, then there's a tenner. Before I knew it, I was down 100 quid in the space of what? 30 minutes? 30 minutes? It's not a good idea. And I learned from it, and when I do go out now, I have my horses set out who I'm backing on. And they're all backed, and I have a set amount then to back anything that just pops in that goes, I didn't know he was running, and so on. That's it then. Do not get dragged down into a hole of chasing money. It's not a good place to go.
Do you know, like, the lads in the podcast group know as well that my father is a pretty severe gambling addict and lost a lot of money and lost a family home and all that. Like, I've no issue and no embarrassment with that because it is an addiction and like, that's life. These things happen. And like Tom was saying about the taboo with it, and Andrew's touching on it there about like getting into the hole and all that. It's actually quite good, and there's a little bit of the mental health side of stuff there too, because it's quite good. And me and Andrew trust each other. So if he has a bad day and needs to talk about it, he talk to me. If I have a bad day, I talk to him. So it is good to have someone there that, if you think like, I might have bet a little bit too much, say it. And that person then, someone that you can trust, will say to you, look, you need to stop for a week or two, just rein it back and then stick to your system and go from there. And the thing that works for us with the drinking side of thing, obviously going out and backing a few horses, having a few drinks is part of life and it's good. But we will pool money together and only use that money then. So we would, like I said, we trust each other's our opinions on horses. We put a certain amount of money in, and then that's a little bit more than what we'd have separately to get it separately if we were betting. We'd use that, and generally the system kind of works. So.
It does. 90% of the time it works, and it's more enjoyable that way. It's, if you lose the pool of money, so what? At least you had that set amount. Say we put €40 in each for the day. That's €80 betting money to have on 8 races at a tenner. But hopefully you hit 1 or 2 winners, and then you're up money. You have bets covered, and hopefully by the end of the day you have your drinks covered, and you have to have a free day out. 90% of the time that's happened with us. We've had the day covered, we have our food covered, we'd have our drink covered. It's the most, we cracked it about 2-3 years ago. We started this. We never, ever, ever went into a hole after doing it. Yeah, you might win a fortune, but you're not out to win a fortune if you go out to drink. You're out to enjoy the day. Like, if you go out for Cheltenham, you obviously you have your your anti-post bet's done, or you might have a bigger bet on one or two. But that's still the same thing. And you'll have your separate big bets done. But then that doesn't mean, Christ Cheltenham's on at the back. 4 horses in the county hurdle. At the back, 3 horses in the Gold Cup. You don't. Just stick to your head. Don't get carried away because of Cheltenham, Punchestown, Aintree, Royal Ascot. At the end of the day, it's another race meeting, just with better horses. If it was any other day, you wouldn't be backing 6 horses in the cellar handicap, 18 runner around bloody Utoxter or whatever. Just try looking at it as just another day racing and enjoy it. That's all I can say.
For Cheltenham and Royal Ascot as well, we go to Punchestown. So those 3 meetings, I put away money every week. So say from January on to Cheltenham, I put away 10, 15 euro. And that money is then used for Cheltenham. And it's not like Tom saying have a separate money balance for your gambling. If I lose that money, it's no real loss to me because it's just money I saved and put away and I don't really care about, or it's not for anything. It's for Cheltenham, for Punchestown and for Royal Ascot.
I think it's you gotta like I found like with the 2 guys as well, and like with most of my friends who bet, we're all like honest, and I think you can be honest with each other. Like I had a treble up today, and we were just chatting about today's bets, and I put it in the group, and I said, I got the treble up, and everyone was like, 2 boys were like, oh, lovely, we've all had a good day. I was like, oh, well, actually, I had a bad day on these other things, and I'm about 30 quid down today. So, it's people will always tell you when they're winning, but they won't tell you when they're losing. And when you start to lie around gambling, I feel that's when it gets pretty bad. If you talk to some of like the pro punters and stuff, and I've got a few friends who bet fairly heavily, and you talk to them and they'll turn around and say, geez, I've had an awful month. I don't know what it is, but like, yeah, I've lost this month. And then you look at other people and they're like, they never tell you when they've lost. You never hear about them losing. All you hear about them winning. Everybody loses. Everybody goes on losing streaks. Everybody goes on poor runs. Happens to everybody. And I would guarantee, I'd say 98% of the gambling population have chased their losses to some extent, even if it was only on one race, have chased their losses at one stage. And it doesn't work. It just does not work.
Like, I'm a big believer of trusting your system. Like, if he's having like the run of seconds he's had before, I'd always drill into him, don't change what you're doing. It works for you. You've had weeks upon weeks where you're just banging in the winners. Why would you change it all of a sudden because you're hitting the crossbar? Like, it doesn't mean you have to go change your system and then go look at races different, which might drag you into backing in more races and races that you mightn't back in. Like backing in bloody all-weather races in the middle of bloody Wednesday night. Like, that's not a normal race you would back in, but then you're suddenly dragged into it because you're thinking, all right, I'll try something here now. But I'm a big believer of trust your system. If it works, it works. Everyone has a different one. There's a lot of ways we could spend all day talking about ways to get dragged into it.
And there's a certain amount of self-control in picking one horse in a race meeting and just backing that horse and watching all the other races and waiting. But that comes with practice, and you do get better at gambling and betting as you get older, and you get more self-control, and you figure out, and you have bad days, you have losses, and you have wins. So, but
as Andrew was saying there, though, like it's find your niche and stick with it, and try not to deviate on too much. I like lower grade races because I feel I can get a grasp on what horses actually have the ability to win a race and what horses don't have the ability to win a race. I know when the horses are in form. I know what kind of ground they like, what kind of trip they like. I know most of the trainers in Ireland, and this is all in Ireland, by the way. And I know most of the trainers in Ireland. I keep an eye on when they come into form. I know most of their habits and things like that. Andrew would never in a million years dream of betting in a 0-65 at Dundalk or a 0-95 around Clonmel. Like, that's just not your gig, is it?
No, I'd be the total opposite of you. I'd be from listed to grade ones where I think I have a grasp of. I know the horse's ability. I know. I say I know. I think I have a grasp of who's going to improve, who'll improve for the step up, who needs it. Like I've numerous examples that I won't drag out that I'd have of over the years of trust in what I think in grade. Like Tom has it. Like I couldn't sit down now and look at race in Dundalk where Tom would be going on. Like this fella ran there, I'd be like, how? Like, do you think he's going to win this? And then he wins. It's everyone has their own system. Like Dave would be
mine is more graded races on the flat, and I prefer the jumps, but it's more graded race on the flat. And like that, like if I looked at the cards and say there was something on a Roscommon, I don't even look through the card. I don't want anything to do with it. It's not my cup of tea. Like say Wolverhampton and Sutherland in England. But if I see Newcastle, I'll always look through Newcastle because I think it's a fairer track and I can pick winners at Newcastle.
And I hate Newcastle. I can't pick my nose at Newcastle. Yeah. And then I've got a friend, a really close friend of mine who is excellent on the flat and even better on the all-weather in England, like absolutely class at it. And then I've got another friend who most of you know is electric at the French stuff. Like, again, like it's just he knows the trainers, he knows the horses, knows the jockeys, knows the pedigrees. And I look at the French card and I'm like, what does that mean even? You know? It's just picking your niche and sticking with it.
Where I'd look at the French card and go, how the hell do I say that?
But I think being careful, being realistic, talking about it, setting your money aside. And I think one of the other things I said was a thing I used to do when I was in college and I had no money was, setting aside a budget, whether it's 20 quid or 50 quid, and saying, right, this is my betting bank now for the next 3 months, and I've got to make money. And if that's all you're giving yourself, you're not going to go and have 25 quid of your 50 quid betting bank on the first horse. And you learn discipline. And if you follow that, if you can pick those horses to win, then as your betting bank increases and as your stakes increase, your profits will increase if you keep the same system. But it teaches you discipline. And if that discipline follows you all the way up, fantastic. I mean, it's fine. If you're betting €2 and you have 4 losers and you say, right, I'll have 8 quid on the next one, you're still at pretty low stakes for anybody that's kind of low stakes. If you take it seriously, and you end up getting to the stage where you're betting on a high level, you're betting hundreds, or you're maybe even betting thousands, and then you have 4 losers, a grand a pop, and you say, "Okay, I'll bet the £8,000 now." That's a lot of money, and that's where you get into trouble. You might see it as 4 2-quid bets, and then it's only 8 quid. What's 8 quid? But it's the point behind it. It's when you get up into those bigger stakes. If you can't do it at the lower levels, please don't even try at the larger levels because it's just not going to go well for you.
It's because when you get to knock on the door, the man in the black suit, out you go, lads. That's what happens. But anyway, look, at the end of the day, it's cliche, but when the fun stops, literally just stop.
Literally, yeah.
Because it's meant to be fun, it's meant to be enjoyable. We all enjoy it. Of course, we all love a bet. We love the thrill of a winner, but there's no worse feeling than being down in the gutter when you know you're after going too far. On that note,
that's good to talk about.
It is.
With the week that's in it as well. So
it's an important topic, lads. And as I say, anyone who tells you they hasn't traced or they always win
are bullshitting. Are the biggest bullshit shares walking God's green earth.
They're not the people you need to have around you when you're trying to bet. Trust me.
If you're in this game, you're going to have a bad day here and there. It's naturally part of gambling and picking out horses.
Exactly. But yeah, look, as we say, like we're open to talk about anything. Like if you want to talk about that like that, literally just drop it in the comments and we'll reply back to you. If anyone's had any problems, like and wants to talk with it privately. Private messages on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and we've no problems sharing. Or sounds weird, sharing our knowledge. of
Experience.
yeah,
Our
experience.
experience, yeah. And we've all been there, lads. Don't think we're wonderful because we're on YouTube. Like we're not. Like we're the same as everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're on YouTube. That's all.
Yeah.
But genuine. If you want to talk about it, like drop us a mail and that, or put it in the comments under below the video. But on that note, we will end. We are back on Sunday again for Talking Points at 8 o'clock, where we go live. So where we will review everything that happened over the weekend. Well, I say everything, all the good things, and some of the bad. But get your questions in after the race, and I will put up the link for it so you can leave your comments underneath before Sunday happens. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Give us a subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and like the video, and comment below with your best bet of the weekend. And we'll see you again live Sunday at 8 o'clock.